Hey folks, back again with ancient cosmography. So I did a new comparison of this, the famous scene where I tried switching Palawan retrograde. So everything is retrograde here except for Busuanga and Australia. So it's kind of like the Hurricane map where of the Azores, where only Pico is prograde, or the Hurricane map of like the area around Japan, where I think only maybe Iki and Tsushima are prograde or something. Anyway, it seems to be a standard thing. Like, yeah, I think this one is prograde. I think these two are prograde and everything else is retrograde here, just like this one is prograde and everything else is retrograde here. And so yeah, most everything on this map is retrograde, or in the original, this entire map is retrograde. But, you know, so it lays down this system. And, you know, just like in the later books of Two Ways, the famous retrograde maps of the underworld of America. So yeah, I'm not totally certain about that, but it was seeming to me that Palawan is retrograde, even though Busuanga is prograde. And so here's, you know, the labeled version. So, you know, we have the Wessel Islands that are the spear, you know, the point of the spear that comes out of the bison's guts or whatever. So this is, you know, this is that upside down. It's showing it from the opposite orientation, coming out of here. And you can see here how, just like here, Papua and Australia are the two closest together and fighting each other or whatever. I mean, look how close Papua is to Australia. Most people don't realize this because, I mean, white people have generally looked down on Papuans so much that, you know, they basically view them as just primitive and yada yada. So that's why I think that the Australians don't talk about their nearest neighbors. They pretend that their nearest neighbors are New Zealand, but New Zealand's much further from Australia than Papua is. Anyway, so but these are the Wessel Islands. You know, I think the spear tip also includes this peninsula here. Yeah, it's basically this peninsula and then all these islands. And stuff like that. Busuanga. So yeah, this was it the other way, but I determined that this was probably wrong, that I should flip this retrograde. So I did that here, because this seems like it bends this way, and then whereas this bends this way. But honestly, it's hard to be totally certain. You know, it could be this. Maybe this is what it is, and you know, this part is maybe this part, and this part is this part right here, and so yeah, it could be prograde. So hard to know for sure on that. But just to like run through this, go to a little bit. It's Papua is this guy. He's the recumbent man, sometimes called the bird man of Lascaux. So his, body is Papua, and then his legs are New Britain here, and his feet are the Solomon Islands down here. His dick is this Papuan Peninsula there. His arms are Japan and Ute, and his hands are Biak and Roa. And his atlatl that he used to throw the spear into the Australian bison is, his atlatl seems to be the Lesser Sunda Islands here. So I didn't label all these, but I showed them in the last one. It's basically Timor and some other stuff. Tengara is some name for that also. I think West and East Tengara. But I think there's other names that are more commonly used in the West, I guess. And then, this guy down here. So that's the atlatl, that is this thing right here. So it has one notch over on this side, which is Timor, which is what is used to throw the spear. And then another kind of notch over here, maybe associated with the handle of it, which is whatever, I forget what that island's called. And so Bali is Bali is part of the Lesser Sundas. It's like the furthest of the Lesser Sundas. Major, I guess, Hindu center, ancient Hindu center, or maybe Buddhist, or both. So, and then this guy down here is, his back foot seems to be Taiwan. His, kind of pelvis seems to be Luzon. His body seems to be like the Visayas and Cebu and stuff in here. His head, he has a weird head that's kind of like a snake's head or something, which seems to be Zamboanga Peninsula right there. And then it has these islands in front of it, of course. There's this chain of islands there. And then his huge front feet are Sulawesi here. Sulawesi, the Philippines, Taiwan. Here's mainland China is right there. So, I mean, there's a string of islands basically going all the way from mainland China all the way to Australia. And then, of course, Busuwanga is this bird, and Palawan altogether, or Palawan Island as the pole that he's on. And so yeah, the bird and the pole are battling against this creature, and whereas Australia and the man and the bison are battling against each other. So it's there's two separate battles going on. So these are like the original Pokemon battles. These are what are called Pokemon pocket monsters. Basically, zoomorphizations and anthropomorphizations of nature, which can be painted, scrawled down and kept in your pocket. Also called Achs, also called Jinn,